Situ.
Yeah, In Situ. That Brandon Rogers was running.
Okay.
Which is a really sick concept. Like, and
it really was. Yeah.
By no means, I don't think it's any different. He's like, listen, like, all the standards are the same.
Yeah.
You're working in the same kitchen.
Exactly.
Right. And if what happened later on didn't happen, I definitely would have gone back and staged. But we continue on to Saison. I did 3-day stage at Saison. And a really good friend of mine had just left there. So it was kind of like a VIP stage.
Yeah.
Like everybody treated me really well. Everybody was like really friendly with me.
Yeah. I
got taken out after work every night with the cooks, and, like, to go to the wine bar that they had and like just go and get like all like wasted and like have a good time. And that was a ton of fun. I really, really enjoyed it. And then from there I went to the restaurant at Meadowwood. And I was there for 3 days. It was 2 days in the morning in the cold room. And then 1 day at night on PM, and that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I had to stay in Napa at a friend of mine's house, and then I would drive my other friends from San Francisco's car up to the Meadowwood.
Yeah,
that was good. You weren't there.
Who'd you stage with? I think we were talking about this. I got hit by a car. At that point.
I think that's what we think.
Yeah,
you were sloughing.
Yeah, I never worked there. This has all been a lie.
He was never actually.
Yeah,
there.
No.
So I staged with Carl. Carl was, I think, the sous chef in the morning.
What up, Carl? Shout out to Carl Alexander.
Yeah, shout out, Carl. I don't think we've communicated since, but
no.
What up?
Yo.
Kat was the CDC, but it was during the transition.
Gotcha.
So
she was going over to Charter Oak.
Yeah, so Kat and John were. I think she was like about to like get ready to leave.
Passing of the guard,
because as soon as she passed, then it was him, and she was still there, I think.
Yeah.
So they were running the kitchen, and it was intense. This is before the team kind of dwindled down.
Yeah.
Because when I went back there recently, it was like 6 cooks.
Fucking 6 people. Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah,
couple guys in the morning.
We were doing it with like
cooks.
8 people.
But there was like a lot because there was all these commis everywhere.
Yeah,
it was pretty wild.
I can relive that time. Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So that was the first time I got to meet Chef Costello. That was a lot of fun. He told me, this is pretty funny actually, he told me like when he met me, he's like, it's really nice to meet you, I've heard a lot of good things. I'm going to go check out this other restaurant we're building, and we'll catch up. And I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
So then I sit down with John at the end of my stage, and he's like, so this is it, all right? You got to send an email into Chef and let him know how you feel about the restaurant, and he'll probably reach back out to you. And I was like, cool. And then years later, I'm sitting in a cocktail bar with Chef Costello and our wives, and he's like, you never emailed me. I can't believe you never emailed me.
Damn,
I was like,
son.
Dog, I emailed you.
Yeah.
And he searched it, and he found my email from like
he did
3.5, 4 years prior. I was like, I'm still here. It's all good.
Yeah, that's funny.
So anyways, after that, I extended my trip, and I went and I staged at Atelier Crenn for a week. Before one of those nights, I went and did an interview with Chef Dominique, and my interview was like me and her drinking a bottle of rosé, talking about like dreams and aspirations, and like what I like to see in like the food world, and like what I don't like to see, and culture and flavors that we're into, and it was a really fun like organic conversation, and I really enjoyed it, and I got to catch the tail end of service and like see how that was going. Chef Matt Leitner was there as a consultant at the time, and I had known him from Matera.
Gotcha.
So I went back for this week's stage, and I did mostly mornings, and then I'd stay for a couple of dinners. It was mostly like pretty long days,
yeah.
Which I should have looked into longer or further, because it ended up being my life for quite a few years. And at the end of it, she had me do a tasting. It was me and this other guy. He showed up that day for a 1-day stage on a Saturday, and then she comes in at like 10, 11, and she's like, "Hello, how are you guys?" And she's like, "Tasting today, yeah? 3 dishes?" And I was like, "I'm ready, chef." I'd already ordered all my mise en place. I've been doing little things here and there throughout the week, like getting ready for it, so it's not just like a day of tasting. And he's like, "What? There's a tasting?" And so this guy he's on like Chop now. He's got to put together a 3-dish tasting for Dominique Crenn, Matthew Leitner, and Juan Contreras all to eat at like 4:00.
Great.
When all the kitchens are setting up for service, and it's like mayhem. I felt so bad for the kid.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him.
You're like, I got this job in the bag.
I was like, I'm
baby.
good. I was like, you need a hand in? I'm done with my mise en place. Yeah. It's like 12:00.
Oh my god.
So I did my tasting. They offered me a job as a sous chef, and then I'm like, yeah, let me mull on it for a little while. And I leave the restaurant, and I'm like, yes. I was excited about it. I hadn't made the decision right away, of course, because I'm like still waiting for Chef Christopher Costello to write me back. Still. And I'm still thinking about Saison heavily because I really like that wood fire food, and like I like that open kitchen's beautiful.
Yeah.
And, I have like friends that work there, and I'm really thinking about Lazy Bear. It pays well, the culture's good, the food's good. They're teaching you how to do things. You know what I mean? It's not just like we're gonna do like simple shit all the time. And and I'm thinking a lot about it. And so what really made me make a decision is I wanted to be a part of something that was growing rather than something that was maintaining.
Heard.
And at the time, Atelier Crenn was going through some transitions. They didn't have a head chef. The dining room needed to be redone heavily. The kitchen needed to be redone. The dishes, some of them had been on the menu for like a really long time. Not saying they're bad, but, it was just time to kind of get like some new in there. And I felt like I had the opportunity to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And so I took the chance, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go work at Atelier Crenn for Dominique." And I think it was like one of the best decisions I ever made, man. It was an amazing time.
Fuck yeah. How long have you been a sous chef?
So 7 months.
7 months.
Yeah, 6 months.
Did the talk of you becoming CDC happen earlier before? Yeah. Got you.
Maybe a month in, we'd start having like late night rosé meetings. She loves rosé, man. Nothing but rosé.
Yeah.
So we'd start having like late night meetings, have a bottle of rosé, and she'd start just kind of like feeding this idea into me. And like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And like, I think like her concern about me taking it or not taking it would be that I didn't want to because I was young. I think I was 28 when I started working there, 27. Yeah. And so she just kind of started feeding me these ideas and like seeing how I felt about things, and she wanted to see how things were going to play out. And our executive sous chef ended up leaving, and then she promoted me to his position, and then we got in a executive chef.
Got you.
So that's Johnny Black, and I have never been more terrified than Johnny Black. And he's an amazing man.
Yeah,
he was not like ruthless. He's just scary.
Yeah,
but in a good way. And I look up to him more than I think I do anybody else as like a father and like a husband, as a chef.
Yeah.
He's the one that taught me how to like know how to use a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And like all sorts of things. And, but it was definitely like, he didn't take any shit from me. No way.
Heard that.
And so he was the executive chef of the restaurant. And then Petit Crenn started having some things. And so then they promote him to executive chef for the group.
Got you.
And at this point, with him being gone at both restaurants, he's like, let's make Kevin the CDC. Heard that. So thanks to him, I ended up getting that final promotion like 6 months after starting working there.
Yeah.
And then with his guidance, with the general manager's guidance, one of the sous chefs had been there for a couple years already, and he ended up staying just until right after I left. Mm-hmm. And he knew Dominique super well. He was the traveling chef. He was the R&D chef. He knew what she liked. He knew what she didn't, and he would also help me, guide me through some things. And then from there, we started just kind of redoing some stuff. We got our Maltini oven. We started to kind of reconfigure the kitchen a little bit, make it a little bit more accessible for the cooks. We had a dish pit in the kitchen when I started, and this kitchen's small.
Yeah,
it's like 800 square feet, 700 square feet. It's really small. And there's a dish pit in there. And so you're trying to run this super tight service. And then you got this guy.
Yeah.
And so we finally, we remodeled our private dining room. And that became the Chef Juan Pastry Palace. It was massive, gorgeous. He got every toy that he ever wanted. And then his pastry room, which was about the same size as the kitchen, got turned into the dish room. And so now we have these two buildings, because one's Bar Crenn's next door. Atelier Crenn is just to the next to it. And we have this courtyard in the middle, and that also connects the PDR and the dish room. And so you have all these different areas all connected by this corridor. And it ended up becoming this really fun environment because you could check into any room and there's something totally different going on from where you were previously standing.
Yeah.
And then that gave us some extra space in our kitchen to make things a little bit more maneuverable and whatnot. And this is all in 2017. And so Michelin Guide came out, and and I was hopeful in 2017. I was really hopeful. But I knew it. I had that feeling. I was like, no, we didn't get it. We didn't get it. And Chef Dominique was like, she was never one to be like super upset with people. Like, she's not like, this is your fault. So she's like, listen, like, this is what we're gonna do. Like, we're gonna push for next year. This is what we're gonna do. And with Johnny Black coming in, like helping out on the menu, and Dominique being there every single day, we really, really pushed. And another year went by of flipping the team over completely, all new sous chefs and cooks. That like pretty much at the end of 2017, and then and that's where we got our guy BJ. We poached him from Lazy Bear, and then 2018 came. Well, I guess I'm kind of skipping over some stuff here. So, at the beginning of 2018, I got a phone call from Hallie, the head chef of at Maimo, and he tells me that Esmond's going to be opening a restaurant in China.
Heard.
And he's like, "Do you want to be the guy? Do you want to run it?" And I'm like, I don't know, man. China? It's kind of scary. And he's like, no, it's going to be sick, man. I'm going to be traveling out there all the time. I'm going to be the chef of the group. He's like, we're just going to hang out and eat dumplings. It's going to be awesome. You're going to put together like this amazing restaurant. You can be the guy. You can be there by yourself all the time, basically. And so I'm like, all right, sick. Let's do it. And so I gave Dominique a 7-month notice. And I was like, I'm going to leave when the guide comes out. We're all pushing for it. I'm going to leave when the guide comes out. And she's like, that's fine. Hire me a new chef. Train him. And then, good travels. Like, it'll be a friendly goodbye. And so we kept it we kept it to ourselves, me and like the other management team. And Atelier Crenn and the Crenn dining group was booming at this point. They had Bar Crenn that just opened up next door. Petit Crenn was doing really well. Dominique's, doing a lot of traveling. She's got 3 restaurants. She's doing like talks and like shows and like cooking like all over the world. While also like being super closely related to us, like texting us every day and stuff, and being in the restaurant as much as possible, which is cool. So like now you're like one little restaurant has become like this like empire, which was really cool. It was really fun to see for her. So that year, 2018, not only did we get our 3 Michelin stars, but Bar Crenn got 1 star.
Heard.
And let me tell you, that kitchen was the size of a closet. They had like an induction burner and like this small shitty like tabletop oven that they used. Yeah. And they just beasted through like all these classic French dishes and just pulled out a Michelin star. It was pretty sick.
Fuck yeah. So that must have been a fucking awesome.
It was wild,
party.
Man. It was wild. So we all knew it was coming. Like we just had that feeling. Yeah. And it would have been a letdown if we didn't get it, but we knew it was coming. And so what we did was we capped the reses that night, so we weren't cooking for that many people because we all wanted to go to the party. My man John did all the mise en place so that every single cook could be at the waiting party. And we would all just kind of hang out there, and we put up this fat breakfast spread. I ordered like 500 grams or maybe more of caviar, which I got yelled about. And I was like, no, check it out. I was like, our numbers are good. We deserve this, And then we got the call. Like it was like 1 o'clock. I'm starting to get like stressed. I'm like breaking down fish. Like I'm like, dude, like this isn't gonna happen. And then we get the call and we got it, and it was intense, man. It was wild because we had both restaurants plus Petite all came over, and we're all partying inside of Bar Crenn. There's like champagne flowing everywhere. Like it was a blast. And then we got to go to the party that night. Myself and Dominique, Maxime Lacour, the general manager, Felix, my sous chef. Dominique's right hand, and we all got to go to the 3 Michelin star party that night. And I mean, I can't even tell you, man. Like it was such an amazing feeling, and it wasn't even me. It's like this is Dominique's restaurant. Yeah, and there were so many moving parts. She's got so many managers all over the place and stuff, and it was really special. And to like see the look on all the cooks' faces, and some of them are so young. To see the looks on all their faces and to see how happy they were, and some of them they're like, well, like they don't even understand, like how big it is. Yeah. And I feel like that was my favorite part of it all, was just seeing how, because they came in and pushed so hard every day, and then at the end of it, they got rewarded with like what matters the most to them, Yeah. And,
fucking cool.
It was wild, man. So I gave a little speech, and then 2 days later, I gave another little speech, and then I left. Whoa. That was it, and it was pretty wild. So I left.
At this point, did you move to China straight away?
No, man, this is where it gets super weird. Oh, it only gets like, it's a headache. So we move to my wife and I like pack all our shit. We move all into a storage unit in Southern California where our family is, and then we have like a couple months to wait.
Yeah.
For